When you open Lightroom for the first time, you have to import the images into Lightroom. One of the more common ways of doing this is to import directly from your compact flash card that you used in your camera. You hook up your flash card to a reader and hook that to the computer. And if you've set your Lightroom preferences, which are found here under Lightroom Preferences, if you've set it here in the General tab to show import dialog when a memory card is detected, Lightroom will automatically bring up the import dialog box when you put the compact flash card in the reader. I'm going to deselect that so I can show you another way to do it. Go out of Preferences. Here in the Library module on the left panel, Import. I simply select that and that will open up the import dialog window. I can also do the same thing under File, Import Photos, or use the keyboard command shown here on the right. Let's go ahead and select Import. You'll see on the left, this is the section that shows my source files, and I've got the card reader with the Nikon D3 compact flash card selected. I've also selected Eject after import, so after the images are brought into Lightroom, the card will be dismounted from the reader, and I can take the card out safely. It will not erase the images on the card. I'll still need to do that in the camera, again, which is the best way of doing it. All right, so you can see in the display area, in the window in the middle, all the images that are on that compact flash card are displayed here. They're in the so-called grid mode or thumbnails, and you can control the size of the thumbnails over here on the right, enlarge them, make them smaller. And you can see they're also automatically selected. So I'm going to bring in all the cards. I can deselect them individually if I want to. So up here in the middle at the top, Copy is selected because I want to actually copy the images from the compact flash card, from the source into a destination. And the destination is chosen over here on the right. There is another option if I want. I can also copy the files automatically into the DNG format. I'll get into that later. So over here on the right, you can see in the destination pane, there are many ways of organizing your files, and everybody's going to have their own preferences on this. Let me just show you what I do, and then I'll explain a few other options. I select into a subfolder. I give that subfolder a name. In this case, it's simply the date of the import, May 3rd, 2010. I have organized on my hard drive, which is showing up over here, the 750 gigabyte drive. I organize by year. So I'll select 2010. You can see there's other folders there already. All right. Now I'm going to organize into one folder. I could do it by date, but frankly, that makes quite a mess if you have image files that were taken through several days, let's say, or even weeks. It's going to create a subfolder for each one of those dates. I just find it easier to put all the images from that flash card into one folder, dated or named 5310. That will then go into this folder, the 2010 folder, as a subfolder and show up here. This is important because if you make a wrong choice here and try to change your organization later in Lightroom, you can do it, but trust me, it adds another layer of complexity that you may want to avoid. So I suggest you come up with some kind of a system of organizing your files and then stick with it rather than trying to change it later in Lightroom. Some people, actually, I do this often as well, is I don't use Lightroom to import and place my compact flash files into my folder. I do it from the desktop. In other words, I'll go into the desktop, see the reader there, give a new folder the same name, and then drag and drop my images into that folder. I just find that very simple. And then I access those folder later in Lightroom and import them directly from that. But this does work, and you can definitely use this method of importing from a compact flash card using Lightroom to then place those files into a folder on your hard drive. And this is just the way that I find useful to do it. Okay, so once I've done that, I have selected the source. I now have a destination for that source. There are other things you can do to that file as you bring it in. I'll get into those in other videos, how you handle the files. You can rename them. You can apply presets, but we'll get into that in another video because these also apply to any files that you copy or move into Lightroom. And then one last thing that I wanted to show you. Once I get this all set up, I can create an import preset based on exactly these settings, and then that preset will be available in this menu item in the future. Okay, so I've got my source, I've got my destination, I'm ready to import. Once I do that, once I'm ready, I hit import. And now these images are being brought in from the compact flash card. They're being moved over to my hard drive, and they are showing up in the Lightroom library module as thumbnails. Once they appear, I can go ahead and click on them and start working on them. You can see up here in the upper left-hand corner, there's a status bar that's telling me what's going on. Copy and import photos is happening. You can have multiple tasks going on at the same time. And as I said, although this is going on in the background, I can still immediately start working on these images coming in from the card. And you can see over here in the folders pane in the library module, that folder that I named 5310 is now showing up, reflecting the organization that I've set up on my hard drive. That number will change, obviously, as more and more images are imported into that folder. I can stop this process at any time by clicking on the little X up here in the task bar, and that will cancel the import. Once the import is done from the CF card, it will eject the card or dismount it, and I can take the card into my camera and then either format the card, erase the images, and I'm ready to go.